Welcome to Women in Power Active, a podcast started to empower women to find their own active adventure. Our guest today truly understands what it means to test both body and mind. Maiki Cofer is a triathlete who has taken on the challenge of Ironman Hawaii 70.3 multiple times, a race that demands relentless endurance. Today, we're talking about the mindset behind endurance racing and the journey to the start line and what it takes to show up again and again for a challenge so big. Maiki, welcome to the show. Thank
Hi,
you for being here.
it's nice to be here.
Yeah, so great to have you. I want to start, I always start like this, but I want to start at the very beginning of like how you became an active person.
Okay, well, it's kind of a long story, but I'll try to make it brief. So, in 2012 or 20, like the end of 2011,
Mhm.
I read a book called Project Blue Zone. So at the time, I was really struggling. I was not happy in my life. I was kind of really struggling to exist, honestly. And so I was out searching. I was trying to find ways to connect and find something that would inspire me, keep me around.
Mhm.
So I happened to read this book called Project Blue Zones or Blue Zones, and it kind of looked at the longevity factors for different centenarian populations around the world. So I think there were like five or something.
Mhm.
And part of it was daily active movement, finding a group. Then there was some other health things, but
Yeah.
what really stuck out to me was the daily movement and finding a group
Mhm.
that you could connect with. And so that kind of inspired me to, okay, well, how can I do that here in Hawaii, right? So there's running, there's triathlon, there's all sorts of things.
Mhm.
So I happened to be following another athlete that was a pro triathlete here. And I was just like really inspired by her journey and what she was sharing. And I'm like, okay, well, let's start with running first. So
Yeah.
I did my first 5K, and I was never a runner. I mean, I played team sports in um elementary and high school, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And I didn't run. I mean, I if I had to go anywhere, I took a basketball or something with me to do our runs, right?
Mhm.
I was not the runner.
Yeah.
So just trying to train to do a 5K, I was just like, this is a lot. And but after I did my first 5K, my time was like 38 minutes, right?
Mhm.
And it felt like the hardest thing. But at the end, I'm like, oh my gosh, this was so much fun. I'm signing up for the next one. And
Yeah.
it just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. And so
Mhm.
I kind of found a group, and then that kind of rolled into triathlon and finding a group with that.
Mhm.
And at the same time, I started getting back into martial arts. And my martial arts instructor at the time, he was like, he really kind of helped me with movement and getting back into movement as well because he was also a runner. And so he kind of challenged me to keep running and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's how I kind of got into it more recently.
That's really cool. I'm so happy that you found the sport. So happy you're here. So when you started getting into it and you got past like the running step, like how did like why did you go into like triathlon instead of just sticking with running?
Because I thought, okay, triathlon, that looks like the hardest thing I can possibly do. Because at the time, I mean, I swam recreationally as a child, but I was never a swimmer, or I never was really exposed to swim clubs or things like that.
Hmm.
And swimming in the open water, that was just seemed kind of scary to me. And so I was just like, okay, this seems really hard. I want to try to challenge myself and do the hardest thing I can think of.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of what spurred me into it. And so now it's just more of like, oh, I want to try to get faster or do more. And I mean, I keep trying to do longer and longer distances, but it's all because it's still a challenge. But now it's a fun challenge. I've kind of gotten out of the scared part and not so scared anymore, but just have fun. That
Yeah, no, that's great because like I definitely have a running background. I've never wa I've I'm not a super strong swimmer, so I've never like wanted to like really try a triathlon. Because of course you want to be like good at whatever you're doing, which is not the way to try things. But um I've always been intimidated by that swim because I know like people get like kicked in the face and like you're just all together and it's really tight and like um can you tell me like your first experience with that part of the race and how that was for you?
Oh, okay. Well, so my first actual full triathlon
Mhm.
wasn't until so I had done relay where I was the runner for the relays in triathlon.
Oh, cool.
So we'd always have a swimmer and biker, and then I would be the runner.
Hmm.
But then in 2018, I decided to do the full Lava Man, which is our local Olympic distance. So
Okay.
it's not as, I mean, it's a good distance, at least for me at the time. Um, I enjoy it. It's still my favorite race. But let's see. I didn't have any trouble swimming with all the other people too much. I did get that anxiety that comes up
Hmm.
with swimming, and it took a long time to overcome that.
Hmm.
And but at least I never got kicked in the face at on a triathlon. I've gotten kicked in the face at a swim race, but never at a triathlon. And
Okay.
now they do the starts a little bit different as opposed to a mass swim start.
Hmm.
The swims are usually you go out two at a time, so it's a little
Oh,
less um, intimidating as they used to be, where it was like everybody just started in a mass group. Um, so it's at least still here. I mean,
yeah.
some of them are different, but here that's how they start them.
Okay. That's good to know. Very cool. And then like I guess like the big thing for triathlons is like the transitions usually. Like that's like a whole learning experience. How was that for you?
I never have a problem with it. It's just
Okay.
kind of like you kind of, I mean, it's something that you practice, that you try to practice in training. So
Hmm.
you kind of know how you're going to set things up. So if you practice what you're planning to do in transition on race day in
Hmm.
your training, then it will come super fast to you. So just and then, but again, there's a learning curve because every triathlon is kind of set up a little bit differently. I mean,
Yeah.
most of the Ironmans are very similar, but if you race your local race, their transition area might be totally different than what you've experienced before. So it's just having your plan, having everything kind of all set up, um, organized, and it's good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we kind of like jumped ahead a little bit, but I wanted to ask like so when you were younger, did you do any other sports in school or anything like that?
Yes, I was a basketball and volleyball player.
Oh, cool.
I was B team, so I was never very good, but I thought I was good, so I tried. So, I mean, um, yeah, so that's where I really I did try track one year. So I in I guess seventh grade, I was the athlete that I ran the mile one time
Hmm.
in a meet, and I was 200 yards from the finish. I was in the lead, and then I fell, and then I watched
Oh.
everybody go past.
Oh
So that was
no.
my last year of track.
Oh no. Oh, so disappointing. Um, and then
It
you
taught
just
me something though.
yeah, yes, yes. And then so then you picked so you kind of like after like high school and you kind of set down being active until 2012 and then you picked it back up again.
Yes, I was pretty inactive for quite a long time. Yeah.
Okay. What's the I guess like the biggest thing that you love about like triathlon specifically, like for you, like I know I kind of asked this before, but I mean like when you get done with one, like what's that feeling like? What's that feeling that keeps you like coming back?
Um, well, I really like the training aspect of
Hmm.
triathlon, and the race is just kind of like the cherry on the, it's just the cherry on the Sunday, right?
Yeah.
As you spend all this time. training to get better, and then that triathlon is that test of what you've been doing to
Hmm.
see if you've gotten better. If you haven't gotten better, you've learned something during all that training. So for me, triathlon and racing is, well, specifically triathlon and racing is kind of, I get to talk to people that I don't normally get to talk to, if that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to explain. Um, a lot of people helped me get to where I am,
Hmm.
and a lot of those people aren't here anymore.
Hmm.
So when I'm out there, I'm thinking of them. I'm thinking, what would they do? What effort are they would they be giving? Because they can't give it, I'm going to give it what I can. So sometimes at the end of a race, I just start bawling because I'm thinking about all the effort that and all the inspiration that those people gave me throughout my life. And so I'm very thankful at the end of the race. So it's just, so it's kind of a, it's fun, and I appreciate that. It's an appreciative and moment of gratitude for me. So that's kind of how I think about um, triathlon and that race, actual race day. It's like, okay, I've got the eye of the tiger going,
Yeah.
and then at the very end it's like, okay, thank you guys for giving me what I could do for this day, because
Yeah.
some days are better than others, right?
Hmm.
So you got to be thankful for what you get on that day. And so that's kind of how I look at it, is just, it's this big grand adventure, so give it everything you can and be thankful for what you got to do that day.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I love that. When you're kind of getting like going through that race, it's kind of more about, giving it your all, which is really important. I I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about you've kind of you mentioned people that weren't here anymore, but you had your own experience with big illness. You recently had a mastectomy. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Okay. Well, do you want me to tell the whole story as
Yeah.
briefly as possible?
No,
Okay.
don't be brief. You
Okay, don't be brief.
have.
Okay. Um, well, first off, I highly advocate for screening. If you're due for screening, please go get checked.
Hmm.
Okay. For whatever screening you're due for,
Hmm.
whether it's your mammogram or your colonoscopy, please get checked. Um, so I have had some previous breast health issues that required me to get screened frequently. And but I had kind of gone through that previously and everything was fine. And I went in for my yearly mammogram and they noticed some changes. And so that required a biopsy. And well, first the diagnostic mammogram just to check to look a little bit further into what was going on. And that called for a biopsy. And then upon receiving the biopsy back, um, there was something called lobular carcinoma in situ, which it's not cancer, it's a high risk marker for developing invasive cancer in the future. But because, um, and there was some other abnormal issues going on. And so by having those different things happening, um, there is a way that, because it's lobular, it's a little bit different than ductal
Hmm.
carcinomas and things like that. So it can hide, and the lobular types of cancer can grow in single cells. So sometimes they ask that you do an excisional biopsy, so, or a lumpectomy is what it's also known as.
Okay.
So I went in for that, and was diagnosed, I continued to have more LCIS is what it's called. Lobular carcinoma in situ is LCIS. So given that I had more of it, and given that um, I don't have a higher genetic risk for it, for developing invasive breast cancer, but my mother had triple negative breast cancer. And just given that familial uh, connection, and then also because I'd had several biopsies in the past,
Hmm.
it really increased my risk of developing um, invasive cancer. And I knew that I didn't want to go through what my mother went through. And I had previously spoken to her, if you were to have something like me in the past, we had this discussion,
Hmm.
you know, and she's like, yeah, if I had the opportunity to like reduce significantly the risk of developing breast cancer, then I would take it. So meaning I would go for preventative mastectomy. So
Hmm.
there's different treatment methods for the lobular carcinoma in situ. They also call it lobular neoplasia because there's two types of uh, so it's atypical lobular hyperplasia and then LCIS. So it's ALH and LCIS go into making lobular neoplasia
Hmm.
because what the and again, this is my experience. I'm not a doctor. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to provide medical advice here, right? I'm just explaining my
Yeah.
situation and information as I'm familiar with it.
Hmm.
They're trying to get away from calling it a carcinoma in situ and giving this condition um, this other name because it is a change in the cells, but it's not considered cancer, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah.
Um, so I made the decision along with my doctors. My doctor took it to the cancer board and made sure that I was a good candidate for having a preventative mastectomy. So I went through the process of having that procedure. I mean, and I don't take it lightly. I mean, this was a very big decision
Hmm.
because there's so many complications that can come with a mastectomy. It's not, um, it's most of the time people don't have them, but a lot of times people do have those type, have issues following the surgery. And
Hmm.
so anyway, that I had that surgery, and that was in July of last year,
Oh,
and
wow.
so far everything's going fairly well for me.
Good.
And as far as training, because mine was preventative and I was able kind of to decide of what was happening. At first, when everything was trying to get diagnosed,
Hmm.
that was a little scary because everything was happening super fast because we didn't know what was there. We didn't know if anything was hiding with the LCIS because there is um, a 20 to 30% upgrade rate, meaning cancer could be hiding in with the LCIS, if that does that make sense? So
Yeah.
that's why the lumpectomy was done just to make sure there wasn't anything else there. And so once that was all done, I was able to kind of plan my surgeries around the races that I had already had
Hmm.
planned. And she's like, okay, my surgeon, she was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. We'll wait. We
Yeah.
can work with your schedule. So luckily I didn't have to postpone any races
Hmm.
that I had at the beginning of the year. But then the second half of the year was a little bit, with recovery and everything, it was a little bit more downtime.
Yeah. I mean, that's totally understandable. But coming back training it, you just like kind of took it slow or like what was that like when you came back?
Um, well, I actually had Honolulu Marathon on my schedule. So Honolulu Marathon takes place in December,
Uh-huh.
and I kind of forgot that we had signed up for it. So when I had my surgery in July, I had like 8 weeks off. And I was really itching to get back in. As soon as I got the okay from my doctor and got the
Hmm.
okay from um, the physical therapist, I was itching to get back into training. And I work with a coach. And at the time, because I wasn't really training for a race, I was like, which base plan do you recommend? So that I wasn't getting hands-on one-on-one coaching at the time. It was just more like, let's have a pre-made plan for me. And
Yeah.
I kind of jumped in a little too fast. So at the end of July, I was out of for about 8 weeks, and I was kind of itching to get back into training.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any. I wanted to go back into training, and so I normally work with a coach. And at that time, I kind of stopped one-on-one coaching. It was
Hmm.
just more okay, reaching out to him. What kind of pre-made plans do you have? Because I'm going to train for a Honolulu marathon. And so he's like, well, here's a couple options. So I pick one, and of course, I picked the hardest one, right? Right.
Of course.
And trying to jump back in to the training plan without much guidance because I wasn't, scheduled for that.
Yeah.
um, and I may have I didn't, I just kind of got a little burnout. So I wasn't exactly overtraining, but I
Hmm.
was training more than I should have because I had just gone through this big surgery. And to me, even though it was a big surgery and there was a lot involved, it didn't feel like I was out for that long. So I was like, I felt like I still had the old amount of fitness when clearly I did not.
Yeah.
Um, so um, it kind of, my partner was like you said, had signed us up for the marathon at the beginning of the year. And, he'd been through a lot too, trying to take care of me during this time because when you go through mastectomy, you need a lot of help. I mean, you're kind of stuck in T-Rex arms and um, need help. And given everything we'd been through, and as I was kind of getting a little uh, too back into training more than I probably should have,
Hmm.
towards the beginning of November, we decided, hey, let's take a step back. That would give me time to find the joy in the exercise again because I just I wasn't say burning myself out, but I was just doing more than I should, and
Right.
it wasn't feeling good. So that's why this year we decided just to drop from the marathon to the 10K, and really it was kind of the best decision that we made because we were able to still experience the event, have a lot of fun, and just kind of enjoy the experience. I mean, it's not that you don't enjoy a marathon, but there's
Yeah.
less pressure.
Right.
Um, then and you still get to see all the Christmas lights for the Honolulu Marathon, which takes place in December. So um, that was a lot of fun. So
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a marathon is a much bigger commitment than a 10K. So totally understand why you would want to just take it. I mean, not easy, but just like take it so you can enjoy it and not feel the pressure of a full on you.
yeah,
So what are you working on now?
I have a race. It's called Lava Man. I think I mentioned it before,
Hmm.
but it's our local Olympic race. This is like the USAT national trial for the state of Hawaii as well. So we this is a really nice race because it has people come from all over. We get a lot of people from Alaska, we get a lot of local people, we get a lot of first time triathletes. So it's a really fun race. It's a very good community. So I anytime I hear anybody says, "Oh, I want to come to Hawaii to do a triathlon," I'm like, "Do our race," because it is so friendly and
Hmm.
beginner. It's it's beginner friendly. I'll just
Yeah.
say it that way.
Like, so what are the different disciplines and like distances?
Oh, for an Olympic,
Yeah.
it's a 1,500 meter swim, a 24-mile bike. I can't remember what it is in metric, and then it's a 10K.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I can't remember the metric for the bike.
Oh, okay, that's okay.
Maybe it's 30K. I don't know. So it's a good distance. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, the fast people finish, in under 2 hours, and then the people like me are a little further back. So it's a fun day, and it's not too overwhelming. So it's a nice beginner distance if it's a race you're interested in trying.
And when is that coming up?
That is the last weekend of April.
Oh, okay. Cool. So it's coming up pretty quickly here.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
How are you feeling about your training going like right now?
Um, I'm confident.
Hmm.
Um, I've been working with my coach, and he's been getting me ready. So I think because I don't have the base that I did last year, my time probably won't be what I would expect it to be. But
Mhm.
it's going to be a good time to see where I'm at and reassess and kind of like, okay, these are the new numbers, because I haven't really raced much since last year, because we don't have many triathlons on my island.
Mhm.
We just have the two. We have Lava Man and Hawaii 70.3. Um, so it will just give me an idea of where I'm at, and then I can start to build my base back after we get the numbers for this year.
Oh wow. Okay. And like what island are you on?
I'm on Hawaii Island, so the one with all the active volcanoes.
Um,
No, I moved here from Western Washington, so
oh, that's
I
exactly
lived
what I was
in
going to ask you next.
yeah,
Okay.
I lived in Edmond. I lived in Edmonds and slowly moved down, and I moved here from Hoquiam. So
Oh, I don't
if
know
you're
what that
familiar
is.
with that,
Mm-mm.
Aberdeen, Hoquiam.
Okay, I know where Aberdeen is.
So Olympia, go out towards Ocean Shores, and
Okay, yeah, I know where that is.
yeah,
So you went from one beach to the next.
yeah, kind of different weather environment though. Totally different
Yeah.
weather.
Why did
Except we
you?
have wind.
Yeah, that's true. Why did you move to Hawaii?
Um, I really like the community here.
Okay.
It's totally different than anywhere else I've been. It's
Yeah.
and warm. It was just I was having a hard time being in the cold,
Yeah.
and I needed the sun, and I needed the warm.
Cool.
And it's I've been here for 16 years,
Mhm.
so I love it. But it's fun to go back to and see stuff in Seattle and Washington. I enjoy visiting.
Do you have family in Washington?
My partner's family is like down in Bonnie Lake
Okay.
area.
Mhm.
So, but I'm really, like I said, I lived in SeaTac and all over the place in that area. So I'm really familiar with most of the Seattle area.
Yeah. So I did want to ask you because you had mentioned like you have a coach, but you also coach. Like, do you coach triathlons or triathletes?
Yes, I'm really passionate about helping beginner triathletes. So if
Mhm.
you've never done a race, if you're getting back into sport, I'm really excited to help triathletes learn the sport of triathlon. So
Oh,
um,
so cool. Do you coach like online or do you coach in person?
I'm a remote coach,
Okay.
so yeah. So I'm interested in because I'm in a remote area. Not many
Yeah.
people come here, so and it works out well, because at least for me, because I'm able to be there whenever somebody needs me to be there. As far as like if they have questions, they can just reach out, that sort of thing at the time that they have available.
Hmm.
I'm usually around. So um, I think that's how Zoom and things like that have kind of made coaching accessible to lots of different people with busy
Hmm.
schedules. Because not even if you do have somebody local, it's kind of hard to get schedules to coincide.
Do group classes or is it like single athletes and they're like beginners for triathlons? Is that like your main focus then?
I'm also in the process of kind of formulating a beginner 5K program. So I have a program all set up, but it's a matter of like launching it and trying to um, get people to sign up for it, that sort
Yeah.
of thing. So it's just as far as triathlon, I'm interested in single clients at this time,
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean to say that I wouldn't offer a group if somebody was like, hey, we we have a triathlon that four of my friends want to do, and we want somebody to coach us as a group so that we all have the same workouts, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be adverse to offering something like that or planning something in the future. But my main goal right now is just to kind of start group coaching as a 5K, just like I said, for beginners who've either never run a 5K or are getting back into sport and want somebody who understands where they're at and and somebody who's been in that same situation, because
Mhm.
I know what it's like to not have ever run, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, I want to do this, and you have good intentions, but you have setbacks, you have barriers. I recognize those and I understand those. So I think sometimes having somebody who's been in a very similar situation is helpful to be a mentor and a guide and a coach along the way. Um,
Yeah, that's cool. So you focus on like the new to the sport athletes. That's so awesome. Like it's so exciting when you just start something new. So it's got to be like pretty fun to be able to coach those athletes.
yeah, I mean, that's really where you see, one, where my passion comes out, and two, getting to see that magic of somebody get hooked on something that
Hmm.
can be life changing. Or, I mean, even if you just do one triathlon, or if you just do one 5K, I shouldn't say just, if you do a 5K and you don't get hooked, that's fine. But if you do and you continue on, it really can change your life. But even just by doing a 5K, that can change your life as well, because you're like, hey, I did this. I set myself a goal. I accomplished it. Now what's the next step? Or that was the next step, or that was the last step in running, but I see something else that I want to try. And having that confidence from achieving the first goal helps you go and try for your next goal, whether it's in sport or, you know, some other aspect of your life.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I think it would kind of like go nicely into our final question, which is like, what words of empowerment would you give women who might have like are trying something new or want to keep going or be consistent? Like, what words of empowerment would you give them?
Um, well, I've kind of come up with a new motto for myself this year, and it might help other people too, because it's make every second count. And it's I like it because it's full of action, because we all have barriers in our lives, social, financial, time. It's different for everyone. Um, but they're there, right? We all experience that. The thing is to find what you want to do, and find something that you can do in your life and take the steps towards that goal. So the steps don't have to be big, giant goals, but focusing on forward progress, right? So you'll always have the hurdles and the setbacks, but it's how you handle those difficulties that matters. So visualizing the goal that you want and seeing how it feels to you, and then um, think about how your life will change if you made those changes, or you know. So um, that's the thing, is just work with work with what you can do right now and what's realistic in your life. So if you set a big goal, you don't have to like reach for that goal all at once. You can take little steps to get there. And so that's what I mean by making every second count, is you're not putting so much weight on the setbacks. You realize that that happens, and then you go, okay, I realize it, I recognize it, I don't dwell on it, and then you just keep going forward, because that's how you're going to reach the goal.
Hmm. Yeah, that's so true. And it's also like gives you an opportunity to appreciate it as well. You know what I mean? Um, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you want to add to your story?
So Mission MSA is a organization
Oh,
for
yeah.
its multiple system atrophy. So in the month of March, it's a multiple system atrophy awareness month. And MSA is a rare neurodegenerative disease that not a lot of people have heard of or are aware of. And that's kind of, I have a virtual 5K this month that I'm doing a fundraiser for, and also to bring awareness to this disease, um, because a lot of doctors and nurses aren't familiar with it. And the more awareness that we bring to the community about this disease, then it will be easier for people to get diagnosed faster.
Mhm.
If because the presentation of the symptoms are so all over the place. Um, it can be sleep issues, um, um, balance issues, orthostatic hypertension, which is like blood pressure issues. So, like if you stand up, you fall, fall down quick if you don't get enough blood. Anyway,
Mhm.
um, because so that's my mother was diagnosed with that, and so I'm just trying to raise awareness that it's a disease that's out there that uh, needs more awareness brought to it.
Yeah. When if people want to like donate to the fundraiser, how would they be able to do that?
Well, I have a link on my Instagram page, but
Mhm.
if you go to missionmsa.org, there is a virtual 5K page. You can sign up for the virtual 5K if you want to do it. But then my specific fundraiser link is on my Instagram page. I can share that link with you if you want to um, offer that to people. But
Yeah, so when is the 5K supposed to happen?
March 24th.
Okay.
That week. You can do it on that week, but that day happens to be my mom's birthday, so that's the day I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, oh, I love that so much. If people can't donate at that link, could they still go to the website and donate?
Yeah, if they're
Okay.
interested in, or just interested in learning about MSA, it doesn't necessarily have to be a donation, but just bringing, like I said, bringing awareness to the particular disease,
Mhm.
because everybody knows about Parkinson's or ALS or things like that, and this is a disease that's in a similar family.
Mhm.
It's the same family, but presents differently,
I see.
and it's sometimes it's actually diagnosed as Parkinson, but it's not. It's has a different progression.
Okay.
But there's two types. There's MSA-P, which stands for MSA Parkinson's, and then there's MSA-C, which stands for MSA cerebral, or I
Okay.
mean cerebellum. I mean, yeah. So it that affects different it presents differently. So like with the MSA-P, you'll shake more, whereas the MSA-C, it kind of goes in for more um, bladder and bowel symptoms, sleep symptoms, um, and the orthostatic hypertension. So it's just this ball of anything that your autonomic system is in charge of
Mhm.
becomes affected. So
Okay.
it can present in so many different ways that, and again, many people aren't aware of the disease. So, but helping you get diagnosed earlier gives you more time to kind of prepare for the progression, if that makes
Mhm.
sense,
Yes.
and gives you an earlier opportunity to get in on research studies that can possibly provide cures in the future. But as of right now, it's hard. There's not as much research going on if you're diagnosed later.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that very well, but what I'm trying to say is if you get diagnosed earlier, you have more chances of getting into studies to see if you can slow the progression. But as of right now, there hasn't been any success in slowing any progression or eliminating it.
I see. Okay. If people want to like reach out to you and they want to like be coached by you or want to follow along on your story, is there anywhere like they can follow along? Do you have a website?
My coaching business is called industriousbunnies.com.
I love
And
that.
there's a story behind the name, but anyway. Um, and you can follow me on Instagram at Kahuku. That's Kahuku, or Industrious Bunnies. But that's you can reach out to me on either of those places.
Can I know the story behind the name?
Yeah, okay. So I was trying to come up with something to trademark back in 2004-ish.
Hmm.
And because I'm all about you should always be doing something, right? What, I don't know what, but you should always be doing something. And my zodiac sign is a rabbit.
Okay.
So I'm always attracted to rabbits, bunnies, or whatever. And so if you're always doing something, you're kind of industrious, right? So I was thinking, okay, I was thinking dust bunnies because they're stagnant. And then it just kind of rolled into this. No, it's industrious bunnies because we're all trying to do something hard, right? Or trying to be out there. And again, I'm a rabbit. So and people don't think rabbits have an attitude, but rabbits have an attitude. I'm just like the real animal. They're pretty ferocious little things,
Hmm.
some of them, and they have attitude. So, um, so that's kind of where it came from. Is just it's kind of silly, it's kind of memorable, but it's like I want to use it because I think it sums me up.
Yes.
I'm awkward and it's train hard, have fun.
Yeah.
That's the slogan. So I mean, why are you training hard if you're not having fun? So that's kind of how I look at it. Is um,
Yes. I love
it's
that.
okay to be silly and be serious at the same time.
Yes, exactly. It reminds me of like when I was in high school, I was really nervous to race cross country, and my coach told me to wiggle my toes and focus on wiggling my toes in my shoes at the starting line. And it's just like one of those things where it's just like a funny thing that kind of gets you focused on something else until you're ready to compete. So I love that industrious bunnies.
Oh,
Very, very cute. You can follow me personally. That's at Jacalyn Gross, JACALYNGROSS. You can follow Women in Power Active at Women in Power Active. If you are listening to this and you want to watch the video version, you can go to Women in Power Active's YouTube channel and please subscribe. It really does help us. Both the audio and video version of this podcast was produced by Jeremy Canaria and edited by me. Maiki, thank you so much for being here. And we had a bunch of technical issues and other issues, and I just appreciate you. So thank you so much.
thank you. Appreciate it.